What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review AEW Rampage from December 17th, 2021. This is my first Rampage review in a while, in I don't know how many months. But yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm back uploading videos right here on YouTube. But what are my thoughts on this episode of Rampage? I thought this was a pretty good show. The matches on this show were really good. The main event, that 10-man tag team match, holy crap. Shocking finish, but, it was a really good match overall. Of course, we had the submission match with Tay Conti and Penelope Ford, the submission match. And also the opening match regarding the Young Bucks, Adam Cole and Bobby Fish versus Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and Rocky Romero. A lot of stuff to cover on this show. Not a lot of stuff. Never mind. There's not really a lot of stuff to cover on the show. Of course, we have a couple of announcements on this show as well. Of course, we got our first announcement of the Owen, which is a new tournament that's going to be for the men and the women in AEW, which I will talk about later on in this review. We got a bunch of match announcements for next week's Dynamite, and also our first match announced for Battle of the Belts, which is going to be happening January 8th on TNT, which I'm really excited to see. I'm actually really excited for Battle of the Belts, because I've always wanted AEW to do those Supercard, Saturday Night's Main Event, Clash of the Champions type specials on television, and we're finally getting it on TNT, which is awesome to see. WWE needs to utilize that format. Bring back Saturday Night's Main Event, air that shit on NBC. That's just my opinion, but I'll talk about that later on. But we got Rampage to talk about. Our first match of the evening is the Superkliq, the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, and Bobby Fish going up against Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, and Rocky Romero. Overall thoughts on this match: this was a really good match in my opinion. The Superkliq is amazing. Of course, this is Trent Beretta's first match back ever since being injured and basically sidelined for a couple of months. But I'm going to run down through the match. So Chuck and Matt Jackson start the match. We get a back elbow by Chuck. He misses a moonsault. We get a standing sliced bread by Chuck Taylor. We get a cover and a near fall. Matt then gouges the eye of Chuck. Rocky tags in. Bobby Fish then tags in, works on Rocky. We got a shotgun dropkick by Rocky Romero. Then Orange Cassidy tags in. We get repeated splashes in the corner by Rocky. We get a cover by Cassidy and a 1 count. Then Adam Cole tags in, but then tags Nick Jackson because he's a heel. Of course he's going to do that. Then we get a kick by Nick Jackson. We get a wrist lock by Nick Jackson. Orange Cassidy walks on the ropes while the wrist lock is applied with Nick Jackson, which is hilarious. Of course, Cassidy has his hands in his pockets. We get an arm drag by Cassidy. Then Cassidy hits a monkey flip on Nick Jackson. Then after that, a brawl breaks loose with everybody involved in the match. Matt then sends Chuck Taylor to the guardrail. Then the Superkliq powerbomb Trent onto the ring apron, which looked devastating. Trent did take a lot of crazy-ass spots in this match. Then they surround Cassidy. Then we get a triple super kick by the Superkliq, a.k.a. the Bucks and Adam Cole, on Orange Cassidy. Then, once we're back from commercial break, Matt is working on Cassidy. Nick tags in, goes to the top. We get a splash by Nick and a standing moonsault by Matt on Cassidy. We got a cover and a near fall. Cole tags in. Cole then applies the clutch. The Bucks were about to do their drop kicks, but then they get taken out. They get taken out by the Best Friends. Then we get a roll up by Orange Cassidy, and we get a near fall. Cole then comes back. Cassidy then misses a tag attempt. We get a high knee strike by Cole. We get a cover and a near fall. Cole then goes to the top. Cassidy then counters the Panama Sunrise into a backdrop, which was awesome. Trent then tags in. He slams Matt Jackson. We get a double clothesline by Trent Beretta. Then we get a senton on Cole on the apron. Then spears Bobby Fish onto the apron. Takes out Brandon Cutler. Goes to the top. Then a diving splash by Trent on Nick Jackson off the top rope, which looked sick. We got a chop by Trent. Then we get a high kick by Nick, Romero, and Trent with the double knee strike. Then Romero hits a stomp to the back off the head of Nick Jackson. Then we get a cover and a near fall. Matt then takes out Romero and takes him to the steel steps. Then Trent and Chuck hug it out. Of course, they got to give the people what they want. Then after that, We get a bunch of combo offense by the Best Friends. Chuck then takes out Fish and Matt onto the outside. Then Nick runs into a boot. Trent then gets taken off the top. Cole then picks up Trent. The Bucks hit a super kick. Then Cole hits a brainbuster on the knee. Then we get a diving headset by Fish. Then, no, a diving headbutt, my bad. Wait, what? No, yeah, a diving headbutt, my bad. My apologies. I literally wrote diving headset on my notes. I literally did not reread my notes when I did this review. My apologies. Diving headbutt, my bad. We get a cover and a near fall. Matt and Cole take Trent on the top. We got a double spear. No, we got a double super kick on Chuck Taylor. Then Fish hits an avalanche Falcon Arrow. We get a cover and a near fall when Cassidy makes the save. Then sets up the orange punch, but runs into a pump kick by Adam Cole. Romero hits the heel kick. We got a suicide dive, a.k.a. the Tumpe Suicida by Romero. Then Matt hits a drop kick, orange punch by Cassidy. We got a diving somersault by Cassidy. Then we get a backslide by Trent. Then he hits the Strong Zero, and the Best Friends and Rocky Romero and Orange Cassidy win the match. Overall thoughts on this match? This is a really good match to start off Rampage. What I really like about Rampage is the fact that, they really put important matches on the show and not just random throwaway matches. Like, for example, like if WCW is still around, they'd put some garbage matches on Saturday night or something like that. No, they don't. That's not the case with Rampage, but I will say this, sometimes there's some weeks where like you instantly assume that Rampage is a taped show, and there's some weeks that you don't really think it's a taped show, and this is one of those instances. But aside from that, this was a really good match, and I like the fact that AEW is putting a lot of good matches on Rampage because it goes to show you that they really do care about this show, and they're not treating it as just a throwaway show. No, they're really giving guys opportunities. Not only that, they're putting guys that weren't on the card for Dynamite and put them on the card for Rampage. So that is great to see. And I love the fact that they have, the Superkliq always wrestle on Rampage. We had the debut of Hook on Rampage, which was badass. It was just great stuff. But overall thoughts on this match, I thought this match was really good. Dan Lambert, the one and only Dan Lambert, returns to AEW on Rampage with, of course, the Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page. He calls the crowd a bunch of douchebags, then says he doesn't want to suck up to Tony Khan and screw the Men of the Year. We get a bunch of asshole chants by the crowd. It says when Tony Khan started this company, it's easy for Tony to wear multiple hats. He delivered on the promises. He pushes all the small guys like Darby, Sammy, Jungle Boy, all those guys. He brought in Danielson and Punk. Says the right hand started to get pushed when guys like Omega and Hangman won titles. Says the company is becoming late 90s WCW. I don't think so. If this was late 90s and early 2000s WCW, you know what we would have? We would have a bunch of matches that made no sense, and not only that, we'd have a bunch of gimmick matches like Vince Russo did back in 2000 with WCW, like Viagra on a pole or all those pole matches, you know what I'm saying? But he's becoming the thing that's hated the most about this business. He talks about Cody Rhodes, proceeds to run him down, talks crap about his show Rhodes to the Top, which I, by the way, enjoy Rhodes to the Top. It is not a bad show whatsoever. Then Cody Rhodes comes out. Cody is still getting those boos. Then he takes the mic away from Lambert. Lambert takes it away again. Cody gets it back. Lambert gets the microphone again, but then Cody gets back the mic. It looked like he was about to cut a promo, but that was not the case. Then he proceeds to attack the Men of the Year, but Page and Sky proceed to gain the advantage. Dustin Rhodes then comes in for the save. Then the Men of the Year attack Dustin Rhodes. Sammy Gavar comes out. He hits the high Gamangiri. Then after that, he hits a springboard cutter on one of the Men of the Year, and the segment ends. Overall thoughts on this segment? It's great to see Dan Lambert back. He really makes the show... AEW in general, Dynamite and Rampage are really good shows, but I feel like Dan Lambert, he's one of those personalities that, AEW has the balls to actually put on television because, I don't think WWE would ever put somebody like Dan Lambert on their television set. AEW definitely caters to, all, the fans that just love wrestling. WWE just don't know what the hell they're doing. Dan Lambert is awesome at what he does. I'm a big fan of Dan Lambert. And, we need more people like Dan Lambert on AEW television because you could genuinely, as a fan, you genuinely, just hate Dan Lambert and everything that he says. He's like MJF. He is a true heel. He's a legit true heel. He's not one of those heels that is beloved by the crowd. Now, granted, a lot of people love MJF, but they love to boo MJF because that is the job of the heel. But yeah, Dan Lambert is freaking awesome in my opinion. We got a video package of the semifinals of the TBS Championship Tournament. Of course, we got the semifinals happening. Honestly, I've stated this before. I stated this previously on my Winter is Coming review that the finals of the TBS Women's Championship match is 100% going to be Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho. I think they're definitely going to play it back, way back from the Casino Battle Royale that they had at All Out, of course, where Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho were the final two. But, again, the finals are definitely going to be Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho. And that match is definitely happening in New Jersey, which I will most likely attend as well. I'm 100% excited for the TBS debut in Newark, New Jersey. And, my bet for the TBS Women's Championship match, what women should win the TBS Championship, it's really hard to say. I'm probably going to say Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa is just really awesome at what she does, and I do believe she deserves a championship. And I feel like the TBS Championship will elevate her way up to the Women's Championship and eventually lead into a feud when it comes to Britt Baker, because for a fact that feud is going down. Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. They are definitely going to be wrestling for the Women's Championship, 100%, bar none. They put on a match of the year caliber at that St. Patrick's Day episode of Dynamite in that Lights Out match. I guarantee you they will steal the show once again whenever they wrestle in the next year. But yeah, that's my pick for the TBS Championship, winner. All right, we got Tay Conti versus Penelope Ford in a submission match. This match did its job. It was not a bad match whatsoever. It was a submission match. There was a bunch of submission attempts in this match. I'm going to go through it. Both brawl before the match even starts. The bell rings. Conti hits a pump kick. Then she hits a shotgun drop kick. Ford then takes Conti to the post. We get repeated chops by Ford. Then Ford hits the post. Both are in the ring. Conti applies a armbar. Then Ford gets her foot on the bottom rope. We get a backhand string countered by Tay Conti. Then Tay Conti applies a triangle on Penelope Ford. Then after that, Ford is fading but escapes. Ford applies a stretch. Conti then reverses. Then the bunny is on the apron. Conti is on the top. We get a bunch of back elbows by Penelope Ford. Then Ford applies the Dragon Sleeper. We get a bunch of backbreakers by Ford. We get kicks by Conti. Then a cutter by Ford. Applies the submission, but Conti gets her foot on the bottom rope. Ford is in control. Tay Conti fights back. We get a back heel kick by Penelope Ford. Conti sits down Ford, then applies the submission attempt, and Penelope Ford taps out. And Tay Conti gets the win. Overall thoughts on this match? Again, this is not a really long match because of the fact that this show is 1 hour. But this match did its job. Not only that, there was a bunch of submission attempts, of course, because this is a submission match. So I love the different match scenarios that you get on this show. And, the AEW does put effort in trying to make these matches seem important. Even if you don't care about them, they try so hard to make it seem important, which is really good. And that's what WWE should do, but they make the viewer always not care about their matches. AEW announces the Owen Hart Foundation Owen Cup Tournament. This is a tournament, a huge tournament that's going to be in not only the men's division, but also it's going to be in the women's division. This is a great thing. Owen Hart is one of the greats, of course. God rest his soul. The finals will take place next year at Double or Nothing, so that's going to be May of 2022. That's great to see. This tournament is really going to take a lot, but this is definitely going to be an annual thing, and I do have high hopes for this tournament. This tournament is just going to be freaking awesome to see. A couple of matches next week for Dynamite. They did run down the card for Dynamite next week. The matches for next week's Dynamite are huge. I'm really excited for Dynamite this coming Wednesday on TNT. We got Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy, Malachi Black versus Griff Garrison. Of course, Griff Garrison is in the middle of a feud with Malachi Black, which of course Malachi Black is going over. I do not see Griff Garrison beating Malachi Black, and, of course, Brian Pillman tried to stop him, but that didn't happen. Britt Baker and Tony Schiavone will have a Christmas celebration segment. Then we get the semifinals, Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho. I definitely do see Ruby Soho winning that match and advancing to the finals. And then, of course, Thunder Rosa beating Jade Cargill and Thunder Rosa advancing to the finals as well. Then, one of those big matches, MJF and FTR versus Darby Allin, Sting, and CM Punk, which is going to be a freaking awesome match. I'm immensely excited for that. Then, of course, next week for Rampage, we got Hook versus Bear Bronson. Hook in his second ever match in AEW. You know who's going over. They're going to send Hook again, and he's going to beat the shit out of Bear Bronson. Then we get Sammy Gavar versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship, which I'm really excited for. Sammy Gavar is, of course, going to go over. I do not see Cody Rhodes winning the match because of all the heat that he's getting by the fans. But I think it's going to be a really good match. Cody Rhodes always puts on really good matches and makes matches seem important. And then, of course, our first match announced for Battle of the Belts is Britt Baker versus Riho for the AEW Women's Championship, which I'm really excited to see. Battle of the Belts is going to be one of those big shows, in my opinion. And, I definitely do see Bryan Danielson going up against Hangman Page in their second match at Battle of the Belts, and then their third match being an Iron Man match at Revolution. I just see that happening. And I just want that match to happen, period. I want, just 3 matches happening. That's just me. All right. Mark Henry interviews the Acclaim, everybody in the main event, in that 10-man main event. And the 10-man main event is the Lucha Bros, Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston versus 2.0, Daniel Garcia and The Acclaimed. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a pretty good match. I enjoyed the match. A lot of spots happened on this match. There were a lot of spots that happened in this match. But, they were really good spots. Phoenix is just amazing at what he does. 2.0 is great. Daniel Garcia is great. Eddie Kingston is amazing on the microphone. Santana and Ortiz were awesome. It's been a while since I've seen Santana and Ortiz. But yeah. So we get this 10-man tag team match. A brawl basically breaks loose before the match even starts, but finally the bell rings. Penta and Max Caster start the match. We got a right hand by Caster. We got an overhand chop by Penta. Then both Caster and Penta exchange chops, which was awesome. Then they takes Caster to the corner. Penta hits the Gamengiri. Then Phoenix tags in. We get a double super kick on Caster by the Lucha Bros. We get a cover by Phoenix and a 1 count. We get a chop by Phoenix in the corner. Ortiz tags in, works on Caster. We get a double team attempt by both Santana and Ortiz. Then we get a moonsault by Ortiz. Then we get a couple of chops by Santana. Once we go to commercial break and we're back from break, 2.0 are in control. Then we get a springboard moonsault by Santana on both Matt Lee and Jeff Parker, 2.0. Then Penta tags in. We get a sling blade by Parker, my bad. Then he hits a sling blade on Lee. Then we get a backbreaker on Garcia. Then after that, he takes out Bowens. Then we get a thrust kick by Penta on Caster. We get a kick by Phoenix on Caster, and then we get a bunch of thrust kicks by Phoenix. Then a kick on Garcia, goes to the top. We get a tornillo by Phoenix on Garcia, which looked amazing off the top rope. Phoenix is one of those wrestlers bro, this guy's a modern-day Rey Mysterio. I would love to see a freaking match between Rey Mysterio and Phoenix. I feel like that match already happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not in AEW, before probably AEW even started. But, I'm just saying, come on, bro. Phoenix is just amazing. After that, Bowens is the legal man. Kingston tags in. We get a couple of chops by Kingston or Garcia. Then 2.0 sweep out Kingston to the outside. The Lucha Bros with a doubles senton over the top rope on 2.0. Chops by Bowens on Ortiz. We get a kick by Bowens. Santana then hits a pile driver. Then Caster hits a diving crossbody on Santana. Kingston then slams Caster. Then we get a roll up by Garcia when he had the tights and actually won the match, which is a weird finish in my opinion. I don't know why they went with that finish, but it is what it is. Then the heels attack Kingston. They are about to use the boombox, but whose music plays? Jurassic Express music plays. But then Jungle Boy attacks 2.0 from behind. Everyone else from behind. Christian Cage is also there. They take out the Acclaimed. We get a boot by Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy then gives the tag titles to the Lucha Bros. Both face off and then shake hands, teasing a match with Jurassic Express and the Lucha Bros, which I believe will be a bonker-ass match. Then after that, Kingston chases Garcia in 2.0, and the show ends. Overall thoughts on Rampage, I thought this was a pretty good show. It was not a bad show whatsoever. It was definitely better than SmackDown, in my opinion. But I will say last week's Rampage was much better than this week's Rampage. But I will say the matches were really good. And I like the fact that AEW is putting a lot of matches on Rampage to like that are really like important matches. You know what I'm saying? This is not no throwaway show regardless of its time slot and the ratings. But AEW Rampage, you know, this show was really good. And, you know, I'm definitely excited to see what goes down in the next couple weeks for AEW. Of course, we got Holiday Bash this coming Wednesday. We got Battle of the Belt. We got the first TBS show. First and foremost, of course, Dynamite is moving from TNT to TBS. The first TBS show I think is going to be freaking amazing. And we got Battle of the Belts happening, which I'm excited for as well. So there's a lot of things happening on the AEW side that I'm just excited for, and you know they're definitely going to be balls to the wall awesome ass shows. So yeah, that was my AEW Rampage review from December 17th 2021. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and be on the lookout for future videos. My Raw review will most likely upload tomorrow, and yeah, this is Broken Havoc from the Broken Havoc podcast, signing out.